Welcome back to another segment of UnGlum Tribe. I'm Blackhawk and this is
Anthony.
And we have a pre-Halloween special for you. It's called What's in My Cereal?
What's in my cereal? And while we both really enjoy Halloween, it's one of my absolute favorite, if not my favorite holiday, hands down. And it's something I really enjoy. Today's topic is not quite something really enjoyable as much, unless you probably have a screw or two loose.
Yeah.
It's more of something that's a little on the darker side, the horror side.
Yeah.
The real life horror.
The real
The real horror?
Yeah.
What is it, Raggy? Tell us what the mystery is.
Okay, so we're doing serial killers. First thing we're going to do is tell you a little bit about what is a serial killer. So a serial killer is someone who has murdered 3 or more victims in the span of 1 month or more, with a little bit of cool down period in between their murders. Yeah, they got to cool down from that. The motive is usually based on psychological gratification, though the motives may also include anger, money, thrill, or attention seeking. I need some attention.
In an effort to establish precise criminal classifications, the FBI distinguishes between serial killing and spree killing. And a serial killer always, not sometimes, not every once in a while, but always experiences an emotional cooling off period between his crimes. A hiatus that can last anywhere from days to years. A spree killer, however, in contrast, is someone who murders a string of people in several locations with no cooling off period whatsoever.
Right, and former FBI Special Agent Robert Kessler was the man credited for coining the phrase serial killer in 1971.
Now, the motives of serial killers generally fall into 4 different categories. The first being visionary, which is someone who feels compelled by entities such as God or the devil, or in Son of Sam's case, his dog, to commit the murder. The second is mission-oriented, and that's to rid the world of, say, prostitutes or homosexuals, or to cure a societal ill, usually of their own creating. 3 is a hedonistic, which is...
That doesn't even sound good.
No, which is someone who derives pleasure, actual pleasure, from the act of killing itself. And finally, 4 is a power hunger or control hungry. And these categories obviously can overlap considerably.
And they usually do. But because of their psychopathic nature, serial killers do not know how to feel empathy or sympathy for others. This they have to learn to simulate by watching other people. But this is a completely manipulative act. Henry Lee Lucas described being a serial killer as a movie star, just playing a part in the greater scheme of things. Scary individual,
Disturbing. So we've also got some American serial killer factoids. Okay, first being the United States has the highest number of serial killers, with 76% of the world's total.
Not a good place to live.
76% of the world's total. Conversely, Europe also.
Also.
We'll just say also. Also, I don't know what I was thinking. Europe comes in a distant second with 17%.
That is
which is kind of converse.
Yeah,
which is kind of where my brain was going with that. But
right. Most serial killers in the United States are Caucasian at a whopping 86%. Approximately 16% of serial killers are of African American descent.
White people be crazy.
White people be mad crazy.
And while women make up just a very small percentage, only 10% of all serial killers, they constitute the majority of victims at 65%, meaning that statistically, though there are more male serial killers, a female serial killer will have more victims than a male serial killer.
More than half of the nation's victims come from women, even though they only make up 10%. So what you're telling me is white bitches be crazy.
White bitches be crazy.
All right. Out of all the states in the United States, California is the leading state with the highest number of serial homicides at a whopping 16%. Conversely, I think I'm using this on the right track.
Right. Yes.
is Maine has the lowest cases, and that is 0% of all the homicides come from Maine.
And that is disturbing to me because with Stephen King living there and all the different, like, he himself,
stuff.
What influences that man? Obviously, it's not his own environment.
Right.
Something wrong. Something wrong with the head.
That is a scary individual right there.
Check his attic. Or his attic. That's his basement attic. His attic.
His attic?
Yes.
All right.
All right. So we also have compiled a list of notable killers. And these are not like the most famous. These are simply notable. The first example of which being Dr. Harold Shipman. He is regarded as the most prolific serial killer of modern history with over 250 murders ascribed to him.
You know, there are small towns that comprise of less people than that. So he wiped out at least a small town.
He wiped out like all of eclectic Alabama.
Exactly.
Slap out.
Slap out. Yeah, that's probably a better example.
He was a British doctor by profession and nationality who murdered his patients. The oldest was a 93-year-old woman, and the youngest was a 40-year-old man. He was found hung in his cell in 2004, a day before his 58th birthday.
So once he was caught, he just could not live with himself, which
Yeah.
I don't find that very surprising. However, America's first serial killer is considered to be Dr. H.H. Holmes, who confessed to 27 murders in 1890s. He claimed that he could not help the fact that he was a murderer no more than a poet can help his desire to sing. Psycho in every sense of the word.
Sense, and some that we're not even aware of yet. Some senses we're not aware of yet.
Nope.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
All right, our third notable example is the most prolific female serial killer in history, and that is the one and only blood countess, Miss Elizabeth Bathory. After her husband's death, she and 4 collaborators were accused of torturing and killing hundreds of girls and young women. One witness places the number at approximately 600 victims, though they were only convicted of 80.
So, white bitches be crazy.
White bitches be crazy.
All right, the most famous guy on this list, well, the second most really, is Dennis Rader, also known as the BTK Killer. BTK, of course, stands for bind, torture, and kill. He was convicted of 10 murders between the years of 1974 and 1991. However, in 2004, there was a news commemorative airing where it celebrated, I don't want to say celebrated, but it noted the
Party!
It noted the 30th anniversary.
Commemorated.
Right, commemorated the 30th anniversary of when he started making those killings. Now, during his kill spree or his serial killing, he would send the police photos and letters and stuff like that, but he was never caught. However, in 2004, he started to do the same exact thing.
Right, so he wasn't just sending letters to them saying, hey, I'm sending letters again. He did the exact same way. Like if you cut the letters out of a magazine and use tweezers to put, I sound like I have too much experience in this, put them on paper, like he did the exact same thing to a T. Like he did not break his habit at all, as if they didn't have 30 years to try to figure it out. And you know, and this is what kills me, is they say, like in the episode, the only reason why they didn't catch this guy is because the letters stopped coming.
Yeah.
Like if you watch the whole episode, dude, you'd know not to. Maybe don't write. Maybe don't write. I don't know.
I think this is one of the guys who were probably power hungry or wanted to seek a little bit of fame.
It was definitely attention and fame, especially, or at least at the end.
But another interesting fact about Dennis Rader is that for 14 years, he was an ADT security alarm system installer. So he would probably go install these, maybe put a little glitch in there or whatever, and then come over there, snatch you, bind, torture, and then kill you.
Maybe your password shouldn't be pyramid. There's a movie reference for you. I don't know. All right. So, and lastly is the one, the only, Ed Gein. His crimes committed around his hometown of Plainfield, Wisconsin, gathered widespread notoriety after authorities discovered Gein had exhumed corpses from local graveyards.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah. And fashioned trophies and keepsakes from their bones and skin.
Right. The most notable are lampshades and even a mask that he formed with human skin. Ugh.
He confessed to killing two women tavern owner Mary Hogan on December 8th, 1954, and a Plainfield hardware store owner Bernice Warden in 1957. Initially found unfit for trial, go fig, after confinement in a mental health facility in 1968, he was found guilty, but legally insane, of the murder of Warden and was confined in psychiatric institutions.
Who would have guessed he was insane?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
If any of this sounds familiar, there's probably a good reason. From what you can find out is, you know, when these you were saying earlier to me, you were talking about it, I thought it was interesting because I did not know that that's how they actually caught him.
Oh yeah.
I'll let you tell it better than I do.
All right. Well, Ed Gein was the last person to be seen with both of these women. So after the second one, they went over to Gein's farm and then went to his shed where they found both the women hung by meat hooks as if they are dressed like deer. That is just a whole big old ball of crazy. And go ahead.
Right, and so if all that sounds familiar with that addition being thrown in your way, it's because it is indeed was the acts that were used, or not used, but that inspired the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. So there you have it.
So there you go. Make sure you sleep tight tonight.
You don't want to mess with Ed Gein.
Nope.
He'll get all up in your face. Literally. White people be crazy.
Yeah, white people be crazy.
White people be crazy.
Man.
So, anyway, we'd like to thank you for joining us for this pre-Halloween special edition serial killer. And until next time, be sure to like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe.
And I'm still Anthony.
And I am still Blackhawk.
Stay on Glum, chums.